What's happening YouTube? My name is Alex and welcome to a new review. Today I'm checking out the new GoPro Hero 5 Black. So this camera costs around $400, but it is probably one of the best action cameras available. Let's check out the box, see what comes with it, and then let's see how the camera performs. Let's begin. So starting with the box, first of all we are gonna see the GoPro with that plastic case. Onto the front of the box we see a picture of it and some specifications onto the sides. Inside the box we are not gonna find that much. We're gonna find some user manuals, some warranty information, a USB-C cable and a couple of mounts. So really not that much into the box. Well, if you've had a GoPro camera before, this looks totally different. So it looks like a different camera. First of all, we don't have that shiny silver plastic onto the front of the camera, and that's a good thing because I didn't really like that silver plastic on top. So now the entire camera is made out of this rubberized plastic, and it does feel really nice to hold. This camera is slightly bigger than other GoPros though, so if you've used other GoPros in the past, this one looks a bit bigger. Starting on the front of the camera, so we have a little screen there. It's a square screen and it is a bit smaller than on previous GoPro models. And then we have the camera lens, and the camera lens is sticking out quite a bit, but it does look really cool in my opinion. And underneath that we just have the GoPro logo, so it doesn't say Hero 5, you have to turn the camera around to actually see the model name. The recording light onto the front of the camera also switched positions, so now it's sitting on a corner of the camera, but it's less obvious than before, but I think it looks rather good. On the right hand side of the camera we are gonna see the Hero 5 logo and also the charging port and the HDMI port. Now both of the ports are covered by this little flap and you actually have to press a button to get it opened. It isn't the easiest thing, and if you don't really have nails it is a bit difficult to actually open that flap. Now the charging port, it's a USB-C. I'm not totally happy about the USB-C because I just don't have that many USB-C cables. But the good part is that it will charge in about an hour. So an hour to get the camera fully charged, which is really good. On top of the camera we find one of the 3 microphones that the camera has and the recording button. A cool feature that the recording button has. So let's say the camera is off and you press the recording button once, the camera will turn on and start recording. You press that button one more time and the camera will stop the recording and turn off. So a really cool feature. Turning the camera one more time, we're gonna find another microphone and the on-off mode button. Now, if you wanna turn on the camera, you're gonna press that button. If you wanna switch in between modes, so like video recording, picture taking, time-lapse, you're just gonna press that button. Now, a very cool thing that I like is the time-lapse. So the GoPro actually makes a video, so you don't actually get just the pictures and then you have to put them together by yourself. So you just go into that mode, you change a couple of settings and all of a sudden you have a time lapse, which is really cool. And this is an example of a time lapse that I've done this morning. And lastly, at the bottom of the camera, we're gonna find yet another flap with a button. So you have to press that button if you wanna get this flap open. And that's where the battery and the SD card are sitting. The battery, it's a 1220 milliamp battery, so a bit bigger than previous models. And no, you cannot use this battery or previous batteries from other GoPros into this camera. So you'll have to actually get new batteries for this one. Now, recording time, it will give you about, I don't know, about 2 hours depending how much you play with the camera. So it really depends if you keep the display on, if you change settings all the time, but I was able to get very close to 2 hours of recording on one battery charge, so I think it's rather decent. Now the biggest change that we have is the touchscreen onto the back of the camera. So it is much easier to use this camera than previous GoPro models. So you don't really need the app anymore. Before you had to actually connect the camera if you wanted to change settings, because it was just too time consuming to actually change the settings onto the camera. So now it's much easier. First of all, you can change the resolution, whatever you want right from the main screen. So it's done very easily. Like you can select 4K 30 frames per second, or it really depends on what you're choosing, because we do have a new field of view, which is the linear mode. So that means that the horizon is not gonna be curved, it's gonna be straight. So That is also a big change, because a lot of people don't actually like that curved horizon, mostly if you're gonna put this onto a drone, for example. So we do have a lot of changes for the GoPro 5. Now if you swipe down, you can easily choose like connectivity settings, so you can connect the camera to your smartphone, or you can change preferences. Now you're gonna see somewhere in there the 12 commands, because this camera has voice control. So what does that mean? So without pressing a button, you can just say GoPro take a photo, GoPro start recording, GoPro turn off. So we have 12 commands. The bad thing is that you actually have to use the exact same commands that you see in the menu there, because if you say GoPro take a picture, for example, the camera is not gonna know what to do. And this is an example on how the commands, the voice commands work. GoPro start recording. GoPro stop recording. GoPro take a photo. GoPro stop recording. So yeah, I found that the voice commands work really good no matter what conditions you have. So if you are outside and it's like very windy, or there is a lot of noise around you, it still understands whatever you're saying, and it does understand my accent, and that is quite surprising. So yeah, the voice commands work really good. Another new feature that we have on the GoPro 5 is the video stabilization. Now, in my opinion, the video stabilization kind of changes the recording, so how the video looks, and I don't actually like how it looks. So here are some samples with the stabilization on and with the stabilization off. So as you've probably seen, the video with the stabilization on doesn't look as crisp as the other one. But here is another example going much faster in between some trees. So you can see how the image, like the video stabilization, distorts the footage. And towards the end of the video, you're gonna be able to see more footage with the stabilization on, with the stabilization off, and with a couple of other different settings. Unfortunately, it wasn't sunny for the past 2 days, so all the footage that I got, well, yeah, there is no sun anywhere. But you're gonna be able to see some low light recordings that I've done, so nighttime basically, and some daytime recordings with the stabilization on and off. Now for pictures, the camera can take 12 megapixel pictures, and we do have the possibility of actually saving the pictures in RAW. That means that you're gonna have a lot of editing possibilities, and you also have an HDR mode. I did take a couple of pictures, and you are looking at them right now. So daytime pictures, they do look pretty good, a lot of detail in them. I did take a couple with the HDR on, but you can barely tell which one is which. And I did take some pictures at nighttime, and the nighttime pictures are actually pretty good. I wasn't expecting this little camera to get those results for night shots. So yeah, these are the pictures that I took with this GoPro 5. We still have the option to connect the GoPro 5 to a smartphone like before, and if you remember correctly, it was a bit difficult to actually connect the camera to the smartphone. Sometimes the camera wouldn't find the phone wouldn't find the camera, and so on. So it is a bit better now. We do have that connectivity tab if you actually swipe down from the screen, but I'm not sure it's totally the best. Plus now we don't actually need to use the app onto the phone, because everything can be done onto the little screen that the camera has. So if you wanna look and see how your shot is gonna look, you just look on the little camera there, and pretty much all the options and settings are there. So it's much easier to use the camera itself than the app. So I don't find the app that useful unless you're planning to control this from further away, and that could be a useful thing. But other than that, I think the camera is more than enough, plus the voice controls, that you don't actually need to use the app onto the phone that much. So as I said before, the camera has 3 microphones, and the sound recorded from the camera does sound really good. It's not muffled, it sounds very good in fact. And it does have like a noise cancellationing mode, so it can cancel the wind and everything. And the sound, for example, if you go on a bicycle and it's rather windy, the sound will still come through even though it's rather windy. So it cancels the wind really good. And here is an example on how the microphone recording sound afterwards. This is the first microphone test. I'm holding the camera about 45 centimeters away from me, so not that far. There is no wind, but there are some crickets that you can probably hear in the background. For the second microphone test, I'm gonna put the camera on a selfie stick, so it's gonna be about 2 meters away. This is the second microphone test. I have the camera on a selfie stick, so it's about 1.5 meters away from me. And this is how the camera sounds with no wind and only my voice. You can probably still hear some crickets in the background. And it's time to conclude this video and let you guys watch the rest of the footage that I've done with this camera. So overall, the microphones are really good. I do love those voice commands. You can just tell the camera what to do and it will do it, which is really useful because you don't have to use it anymore. We have the screen onto the back, great viewing angles, everything works really good onto the screen, so you don't really need to connect to that app that we used to use before. So a lot of good features and improvements, and plus I love the fact that we don't need a waterproof case on the camera. You can just go swimming just like this. So a lot of improvements. So overall, probably one of the best action cameras available. I wish the footage for the video stabilization recordings would be a bit better. I don't find it that great, but overall it does seem like a very good camera. Alright guys, hopefully you liked the video. Don't forget to press that like button, press that subscribe button, enjoy the following footage, and I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching.